Good morning, everyone. My name's Tristan from Underdog Factory, and today I'm going to be addressing some things that kind of drive me crazy as a YouTube consultant, as a professional YouTuber, that I see in like social media groups and those kinds of things that are less useful information than we would want them to be. We'll put it that way. I'll keep it nice and soft and friendly. And so in order to do this, in order to not go insane, because these are things that actually kind of stress me out a little bit, raise blood pressure or anything, we're going to play the most relaxing game I have in my Steam library, Power Wash Simulator. The thing that drives Tristan crazy that we're going to be talking about today is a little piece of advice that everybody seems to want to give, but nobody seems to do a very good job of giving it, to make better thumbnails and to make better titles. To give a little bit of background to this and a little bit of context, the first thing you guys probably need to know is what I do for a living. I am a YouTube consultant. I work with very large companies and I help them to make more money on YouTube. And I'm pretty good at it. My agency, my business, actually did about $8 million worth of sales last year. So, we don't suck. I am a YouTube certified channel growth consultant. And, the reason I started this channel is because I want to help you guys do the same thing. I know what it's like to work a 9 to 5 that really sucks and just is soul crushing. And I want to help you guys escape that. And the best way that I know how to do that is by teaching you guys how to do YouTube. So the goal behind the YouTube video thumbnail is to generate interest in the video that's being created. Okay, you want to quickly and visually explain to the viewer what the video is about and why they should watch it, what kind of satisfaction they're going to get from the video. Now, what's interesting about this is that the way that the YouTube algorithms are designed is that the first metric that they're looking for, the first thing they're trying to determine, is called viewer interest. What a coincidence. And interest is judged based off of how many views a video gets. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not just the number of views, it's what percentage of people who were given the opportunity to see the video actually ended up watching it. And you can see this information, you can see this data in your YouTube analytics under the Reach tab. And the numbers that we're looking for specifically are your video's impressions and the video's click-through rate. Now, an impression is basically the number of people that YouTube thinks would be interested in your videos and how many people it gave the opportunity to watch one of your videos, or how many people had the opportunity to watch one of your videos, if that makes sense. Now, from a technical standpoint, an impression is when somebody has seen your video's thumbnail or title for more than 1 second. And again, it's basing that off of who it thinks the audience is going to be for that video and who they think would be most interested in watching it based off of that viewer's behavior. So if they've watched similar videos before, if they've watched any of your videos before, or if they've watched other people's videos who are kind of similar before, that's specifically what it's looking for. And then the other number, the click-through rate, is basically what percentage of people who were given the opportunity to watch a video, what percentage of impressions actually turned into views. And this is going to tell the algorithms whether or not it's correct in estimating whether or not somebody would be interested in the content that you're creating. And so from a technical standpoint, the reason that YouTube thumbnails and titles are so important is because that is how YouTube determines whether or not a viewer is going to be interested in your videos and your content. And then again, the way that we check that is through the analytics, specifically the number of impressions and the click-through rate. So that's why it's important. Now that we have this information, the next question is, how do we use it? How do we actually create better thumbnails? And how do we write better titles? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to remember that the main thing that YouTube is looking for is they want to see whether or not the viewers can be interested in the content. And so when we are creating these things, we need to make sure that we're actually doing a good job of explaining what the video is going to be about, so that way we can generate that interest. And we can test and we can tweak and we can experiment with this by, again, keeping a really close eye on our YouTube analytics and seeing which thumbnails and which titles perform the best. You'll notice that there are going to be patterns in this, and it's going to help you to identify what kind of things you need to do. The other thing that can help a lot if you have content that's kind of similar to somebody else's content, or kind of like meme or trendy type things. So, for example, right now there is a lot of content going out where it's doing 100 days in whatever game, 100-day challenges, and so these videos tend to have a very specific type of thumbnail, where they kind of split it down the middle, right? One half is showing when they first start, and then the other half is showing them at the 100 days. And so that becomes a very easy way to identify that specific type of content as being, or those specific videos as being that specific type of content. And so it becomes a lot easier then for the viewer to say, oh yeah, this is the kind of thing I'm interested in. I want to watch this video. And so paying attention to those trends is going to help a lot as well. But I think the best thing you can do is just pay attention to what's already working well on your channel. And so the way we do this is we're going to take our YouTube analytics, we're going to go back to that reach page, and we're going to set our analytics to show us the data from the last 90 days. And then we're going to click where it says see more, and we're going to look and see which videos get the most impressions, which is going to, again, be YouTube telling us how many people are interested in that specific bit of content in that specific video. And then we're going to look at the videos with the highest click-through rates, and then we're going to kind of compare the two. And what we want to do then is we want to see what kind of patterns or what kind of consistencies there are between those thumbnails that are performing well and the titles that are performing well, and then which ones are getting the most views. And then for your homework, because of course I'm going to give you homework, if you take those videos with high impressions but really low click-through rates, and if you work on those titles and on those thumbnails, you can actually go and very drastically increase the number of views that your channel is getting just by optimizing those numbers, right? Just by optimizing those thumbnails and titles. So say you have a video that's getting, I don't know, 10,000 impressions every 30 or every 90 days, right? Or every 30 days. We'll keep it easy. So 10,000 impressions every 30 days. Then, and if your click-through rate on that is only like 1%, then that means you're probably getting like 100 views every 30 days, which, you know, isn't bad for, you know, just getting started. But if you can then improve that click-through rate and kind of get it up to about average, which is going to be 6, 7, 8%, instead of getting 100 views per month, you'd be getting 800 views per month, 700 views per month. And imagine how much faster your channel would grow if you're able to, you know, increase your views by 7 or 8 times, right? So that can be a very, very effective way of going through and quickly seeing channel growth, is just by going through and doing this exercise. And it'll also give you a better idea of what kind of thumbnails, what kind of titles perform well for your specific audience, and then you can use that information to make better thumbnails and better titles on your future videos. That way they also bring in 700 or 800 views per month at a time instead of like 5. In fact, whenever I bring on a new client, that's one of the very first things that we do just to kind of help generate some very quick channel growth, is we'll go through and we'll look for those top performing videos, or at least the ones that have the most impressions, and then also look at the ones that have the best click-through rates, and then we will adjust those and we'll kind of improve those. And like I said, that's a very, very easy way of seeing almost instant growth on your channel. So definitely go and do that. Highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. So we've talked about why the YouTube thumbnail and why your titles are important. We've talked about how to determine whether or not they're performing well. You have some homework to go and to research your existing videos, and then also go and look at some other videos that are kind of in that same space and see if there's any other patterns or consistencies that you can find in order to implement and to use in order to make sure that your viewer knows what your channel's about, what your content's about, and so that way they can be more interested in the kind of things that you're creating. And when you do that, your channel's going to grow, which is pretty darn cool. Now, the other bit of homework that I have for you is I have a video that I just uploaded last week that talks about why viewers actually go to YouTube. Like what are the things that people are looking for when they come to YouTube? And that's something that you can then use to, again, further improve your thumbnails and to bring in even more viewers and generate even more interest in your content. So I highly recommend that you guys go and watch that. You're going to find a link to that here on screen and, of course, in the comment section. And then there's one last thing that I want you guys to do. I plan to make a whole bunch more of these videos where I'm answering some of these questions and where I'm talking about some of this stuff. And so I highly recommend that you guys subscribe to the channel so you can get that. But let me know in the comments what other bits of advice you've received that you're not 100% sure about, or that you would like to have clarified, so we can make sure that we're answering your guys' questions. And if you'd like to get a faster answer to that than waiting for me to upload a video, then come join the Discord. You're going to find links to that down in the comments and in the description as well. But that'll do it for me in this video. You guys know what you need to do. I'll see you in the next one.